What's up guys, welcome to another video, something a little bit different today. If you've watched my channel for a while, you'll know that around this time last year, I posted a video and a vlog as well around the state of UK nightlife and why I think we are losing so many late night venues like nightclubs, bars, hospitality venues in general in the UK. Loads of people commented on that video, and I think it's a challenge in many countries around the world. I can only really talk about the UK because that's where I'm from, and so I've got the most experience about the nighttime economy here from my perspective as a DJ. If you know me well, you'll know that I am very passionate about this industry, so I do like to talk about topics like this from time to time, in addition to, of course, giving the usual tips, advice, and tutorial videos that I film. So I thought that this video could be a good little update video in terms of what I think is coming down the line in 2025 in terms of UK nightlife. So let's get into it. Now, just to recap, 2024 was a horrendous year for UK nightlife. I have never seen a year with so many nightclub closures. And in my last video, I'm not going to cover off too much old ground here, but we spoke about some of the reasons as to why I think this is happening. And it's a combination of so many different things, in my opinion, and I think that still stands. So I spoke about, some of the social changes, people that socialize online versus in person these days, the fact that people are more focused on health, so rather than going out and drinking. Cost of living, absolutely cannot ignore that. And also as well, not only from a consumer perspective, but also the cost of actually running one of these businesses. And of course, as well, there's some government issues as well, in my opinion, in terms of licensing, in terms of local government planning, all of that kind of stuff. I don't like to get too political on this channel. That's not really my place. However, some of these issues do cross over into that sphere. If you want more detail on why I think clubs are closing down, then do check out my video from last year, because I think a lot of that is still relevant. So with all of that out the way, and as we move into 2025, are things looking better out there? Is nightlife on the up again? Are things going to improve? And unfortunately, the answer is no. I cannot see things improving in 2025, and I actually think things are going to get even tougher, and we're going to see even more venue closures. I hate to mention it because it sounds quite negative, it sounds quite gloomy, pessimistic, and I like to consider myself as an optimistic person, a positive person, but with everything that's coming down the line, which we're going to get into, I really can't see how a lot of these nightclubs are going to survive beyond 2025. Now, since I released that video back in 2024, the NTIA released an article saying that if we carry on at the rate at which we're going with venue closures, the nightclubs are pretty much extinct by 2029. Something that I certainly do not want to see happen. It's a pretty scary statistic because that is only now 4 years away. In addition to this, we have had some high-profile venues announce that they are going to cease trading potentially in 2025. Motion here in the UK, in Bristol, a very high-profile venue. In fact, one of the best nightclubs in the world. I've got this hardback book that my girlfriend got me for Christmas one year. This is from DJ Mag, 100 of the world's best clubs. Motion actually features in this book. It's been around for years. They have some really cool events there, and they are potentially going to have to close their doors in July of this year. The lease comes to an end. It will be absolutely shocking to see another high-profile venue being lost here in the UK, as it is a really important cultural space for that city. In addition to this, there has been an abundance of high street nightclub closures throughout 2024 as we move into 2025, which is always sad to see because those are the venues that I work in. And it just means that every single DJ set that I'm doing in these venues, I have to absolutely bring my A game because I want people to come week in, week out. Now, at the moment, I have been quite lucky. My venue that I work in on a Friday night is pretty busy. We are very lucky. However, when you consider that that is a 700-ish capacity nightclub. And that used to be one of about 6 different venues in the town that I work in. And now really we've only got the venue that I work in and the one across the road. So we're down to 2 venues. So we've lost 4 high capacity venues, and the biggest club in the town that I work in has completely gone. It's shut. So it is sad times indeed. I know that things across the pond in the States are also pretty bad. Or challenging, should I say. I don't really know all of the ins and outs, but I noticed an article the other week that Paragon, a nightclub in New York City, in Brooklyn, I believe it is also going to be closing its doors due to financial pressures. So I think this is a global problem. Now, in addition to the things that I mentioned in the last video with regards to social changes, cost of living pressures, people not drinking as much, which I think is all still placing a lot of pressure on these venues, the pressure is going to increase from April this year due to a few government measures that they are introducing. Now, I don't want to get political on this channel. This is not me telling you my political views. Please don't take it that way, but this is just my commentary on a few things that are changing and how I think it is going to impact the venues. So the first thing that is coming into play is the minimum wage here in the UK is going up. Now, ultimately, you could see that as a positive, because if people in the lower paid jobs are paid more, then they might have more money to spend and they might go out more. However, on the flip side of that, of course, somebody has to pay those extra wages. And so if a nightclub, for example, that employs, say, 3 bar staff to serve on a Friday night, can't afford 3 bar staff because they're going to have to pay them extra money, you know, are they going to sacrifice a member of bar staff and have only 2 people serving? So are the service levels in the venue potentially going to drop even further? Yes, it's positive for the person receiving the wages because they might have more disposable income. That being said, of course, cost of living pressure is still very high in the UK. So it might mean that they have more money in order to pay for necessities. But it could mean that they have more money in the pocket. But on the flip side of it, of course, someone has to pay that additional wage bill. So it's only going to be a positive if that person remains employed in the first place. Now, the second change for these venues coming into play in April here in the UK is that employer national insurance is going up. So it's another cost increase for these venues for employers. So if you're watching from outside the UK, our tax system is a little bit strange. I'm not a finance person, so I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of it. But basically, when you get paid in the UK, you have to pay your income tax, and then you also pay a percentage of national insurance. So it's almost like 2 taxes. But on national insurance, the employer also has to pay a percentage, and it's that percentage that is going up. So once again, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. So we're going to have minimum wage increases, so more cost to employers that way, and also this national insurance increase as well. So it's like a double-edged knife really for employers. And this really does make me nervous because, number one, are venues going to be able to be as fully staffed as they want to be? Are service levels, again, going to drop as a result? Or is this going to push venues so far into the red that they are going to have to close down? It's going to be particularly challenging from those venues that are already kind of borderline struggling, because this might just tip them over the edge, in my opinion. Or it might mean as people leave venues for employment to move on to other jobs, it might mean that they just don't get replaced. So I feel like jobs in general in the nightlife sector are going to be less so than they perhaps once were. Those are just my thoughts, but I do think it's going to add extra pressure. And if those stats that the NTIA are putting out saying that nightclubs will be extinct in 2029, then it's worrying times ahead. So I feel like if you're a DJ and you're navigating through this challenging and turbulent time, I would say try and do the best job you possibly can. Make sure that you are giving the crowd the best night that you possibly can, because unfortunately it isn't a given that if a gig is there one week, it may not be there the next week. Sorry to bring negativity to the channel. I really don't like to do it, but I think it's important to discuss these issues. I think it's important to raise awareness of these issues. I'm going to leave it there, but let me know your thoughts down in the comments down below. Give me a thumbs up if you've made it this far. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I'll see you in the next video for more familiar content.